This is Lemmy. He tries his best as a Rayquaza. However, many have mocked the little guy, and by little guy I mean 23 feet or 7 meter green flying serpentine who looks suspiciously like a cucumber that got freaky with gonorrhea. I mean, the most unnecessary fervent wish ever. So naturally, he prayed his heart out to the gods so he can at least look better, and what did Lemmy get? A Mega Evolution, that's what. Now in the grand scheme of things, this really wasn't necessary, but considering how his friends Kyogre and Groudon also got different forms based on the orbs that they were holding, the nutjobs at the Game Freak offices thought, what if we gave Rayquaza some of the most broken characteristics in Pokemon history? And so they did just that. Here we will explore true facts about Mega Rayquaza. Mega Rayquaza has an amazing ability in Delta Stream, which essentially and effectively removes its flying type related weaknesses. Remember when it was 4 times weak to ice? Not anymore. It can now tank the blizzard somewhat reliably. This also means that any rock of fire explosion attacks, I mean rock type attacks that isn't stealth rock, is only going to hit Rayquaza neutrally. It also boasts incredible stats for a stat total of 780. It received offensive stats in 180 as if it really needed more power. However, something that is notably just as important, if not more, is the 20 more speed points that it receives upon Mega Evolving. This allows it to outspeed key threats that would normally outspeed it before, such as Yveltal, Zygarde, Xerneas, non-max speed Arceus forms, and Lunala. And that's before you apply a Dragon Dance or Choice Scarf boost to Rayquaza. But first, let's address the elephant in the room. You might be saying, I thought Mega Pokemon need to hold their respective Mega Stones in order to Mega Evolve. Rayquaza can't hold a Choice Scarf and then Mega Evolve. To this I say, you dumb f***. It's almost like someone would argue that Feraligatr is a better Pokemon than Gyarados. What an amateur. Where were we? Oh right, Mega Rayquaza can hold any item it wants, as if it wasn't broken enough already. It could even hold a Poketoy just to send a message that it don't f*** around. The bread and butter Dragon Dance variant is an infamously broken monster that makes use of its above average defensive stats to set up. Contrary to popular belief, one should actually not set up Dragon Dances too early in the match, as doing so pretty much makes you have to either finish the sweep or bust against defensive checks such as Arceus Fairy or priority users like Marshadow. Dragon Ascent is basically a flying type close combat, and if you know anything about close combat, it is truly one of the attacks of all time. Extreme Speed allows for Rayquaza to pick off weakened or faster Pokemon. Now here's where coverage comes in. Rayquaza is so versatile that it can mold its final move slot to check whatever it wants. The most common options are either Earthquake to beat flying type answers such as Duskmane Necrozma and Arceus Rock, or V-Create to beat steel types like Celesteela. Why they gave V-Create to such a cataclysmic wind-summoning Hulkamaniac is beyond me, but it sure isn't complaining. I mean, Rayquaza swiftly brings the wind in the moment he says hi to other people, and then they walk away, leaving Lemmy to think about what he just said, but isn't aware that it's what he did that pushes people away. Quite literally, that is how the Mega Rayquaza do. The Choice Scarf variant is a fast, overwhelming revenge killer that can also switch into foes that it often checks. With Draco Meteor in its arsenal, Rayquaza can now KO Zygarde in one hit before it even has a chance to Power Construct. Surf can be used in its final slot to hit Primal Groudon super effectively, while Toxic cripples unsuspecting walls like Arceus Fairy. Defog is an option if your team lacks another defogger. A similar variant of Mega Rayquaza is the Choice Band set, which it uses to wall break. The coverage of all of Dragon Ascent, V-Create, Extreme Speed, and Earthquake is reliable enough. However, you may choose to rearrange your Choice Band set to better fit other needs such as Waterfall beating Primal Groudon. You know, I've always wondered what Primal Groudon would look like if it were to fall down a waterfall. I mean, just look at it in the sun summoning cutscene here. It practically summons lava underneath it. There's also the mixed variant in which its main goal is to OHKO complete Zygarde, defensive Yveltal, and offensive Primal Groudon with Draco Meteor. Unlike the other sets before, which preserves Mega Rayquaza, this set should be brought into battle as much as possible to damage things in the early game, and as such, longevity isn't too much of a major concern. This is another definition of masochism, even though Lemmy denies it. I am also glad that I do not have this trait. Also ignore my tedious work schedule. Now let's talk about the potential downsides of using Mega Rayquaza. It takes up your Mega slot. However, this is completely fine as it often makes other Mega evolutions obsolete in its presence, which is obviously no mean feat. It is also still outpaced by faster Pokemon like Mega Gengar and Arceus, while it also has great bulk. Using Dragon Ascent repeatedly will wear its defenses down to the point where a light tap will make the Green Goblin go bye-bye. Lastly, you are lucky that Mega Rayquaza is unable to use Z-Crystals for itself. Just imagine a supersonic Sky Strike from this monster. It would probably be renamed to Kaiju level Shitstorm, or maybe something more tame such as Ozone Fistfuck. Oh, is that not tame? Apologies. What other downsides are there really? That's just about it. Mega Rayquaza is one of the few Pokemon that runs for candidate of the perfect Pokemon. Now how can you beat it? Well, one reliable way to beat Mega Rayquaza is to set up Stealth Rock early, which saps Rayquaza of 25% of its HP whenever it switches in onto the Sneaky Pebbles. Inflicting Mega Rayquaza with paralysis or burns is very effective depending on which set it is using, but the common consensus is this: it is practically impossible to fully counter. No matter what preparation you have for the Delta Titan, you still could get fisted in your ass. Bulky fairy types like Xerneas or Arceus Fairy could try to beat Mega Rayquaza with their fairy type attacks, but they would be dead in 2 hits. Rock types such as Shukaberry Tyranitar can tank Dragon Ascent and V-Create, but they would also crumble to Earthquake or Draco Meteor depending on which defensive stat was more invested. Steel types like Celesteela and Skarmory could try to tank the Dragon Dance set with Earthquake, but if V-Create was shown and they were hit, they were practically toast. You know, it's a very messed up barbecue day. Why would you eat steel beams when the meat is just right there? Are we sure that Lemmy isn't a masochist? Just remember, Mega Rayquaza is a fantastic threat that defines the tier that it is in. But which tier is it, you may ask? Well, remember when I said that Lemmy tries his best? Turns out, his best, and somehow his worst, were both far too much for banned monsters like Primal Groudon to be receiving on a daily basis. Mega Rayquaza was, and still is, banned from Ubers because it was far too powerful for the tier that bans powerful Pokemon from competitive play. It currently resides in the tier known as AG, short for a god. Sorry, anything goes. Actually, a god would also be somewhat fitting, because that is essentially what Mega Rayquaza is, and his name is Lemmy. Hey Bob, do you want to go to the playground for a bit? I've heard it's a really sunny day today. Bob? 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 Hey Bob? Bob? Bob, are you listening to me? Bob? Bob? Bob, are you there?